evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the always growing, ever expanding, award-winning fan show. I think I nailed it that time, right? That was clean, man. That was probably, of the 340 episodes of this show that we have done, that was probably one of the cleanest. Especially considering that the the title, that the intro has gotten so much more and more complex since the show started. It used to just be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for fans by fans. And then it became that plus the fan show. Then it became that plus the award-winning fan show. Now it's that plus that plus that plus the always growing, ever-expanding fan show. Award-winning fan show. So yeah, it's all... it's like... can't put it on the back of a business card that way, although that would look awesome. Back of my business card right now has the fan show, made for the fans by a fan. My name, that I am the CEO/host. Then it is my email address, and then a space, and then the website, the Twitter, and the Facebook. I didn't feel the Instagram and Snapchat were necessary for business purposes. Like, those are the places that you're going to go to find all the latest stuff, right? The website, which, God, that shouldn't be listed first. It needs updated so bad again. And that's my bad. That's my fault. It's okay, though. We're going to relaunch it, and we're going to be better than ever. I got to just figure out how to duplicate myself. I need a clone, or I need a host. Westworld reference. Cha-ching. Nailed it. Yeah, I need a me that is a host that walks, talks, and acts like me and can do all the stuff that I can't do, because I'm spread that thin. But I can tell you who else is spread pretty thin. That is one of my special guests tonight, Coach Ameer Ismail of the Massachusetts Pirates. He will join me. He makes his return to the show. Always a fun conversation. We got a good one. We recorded it last night because right now he's in practice. And that is the way that he practices. He says, "Will we play at night? We might as well practice at night." Which is great for them. It's terrible for me. They're like the toughest guys to get on the show because when I'm doing the show, they're in practice. And when they're not in practice, like, I'm at work. So he's got practice right now, and he's got a big game coming up this weekend. We will talk about that. But it was a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and I can't wait. First time in Boston. Although I really was not, I was not feeling it today, folks. I tell you what, I don't know what it was. I woke up, it felt a little pukey, right? Like morning sickness. I'm like, that can't, no. Why? Like I haven't drank in forever. And it's not like I'm 42 days sober, anything like that. No, it's just like I haven't had the time or the extra money to go out and like have a round. I think the tailgate was the most that I've drank this year, if we want to be entirely honest. I'll have a beer at the airport just to help relax me. I don't drink when I fly. One, because it's expensive. Two, because they can only do a card and I typically travel with cash. And three, I haven't had free drink tickets since the last year's United Bowl. So, first world problems. Maybe that's first world problems. I was going to say I travel Southwest, so it's not like there's like a first class or anything. So it's pretty basic. But I digress. The point is that I woke up feeling like I was hungover this morning, despite the fact that I did nothing to merit the feeling of a hangover. Like, if you go out and you tie one off, I mean, you have yourself a bender with the boys, then you deserve to feel every terrible feeling the next morning that you do. But this morning, it wasn't a concoction of bad feelings. It was just one. It was pukey. I woke up and I was like, meh. So I sort of, took some Tums. What else do you do? Drink a Sprite, I guess. And I gave it a little bit, and I was like, all right, I'll go in. We'll do this work thing. Then I was there, and man, it did not get any better. I even went through my whole routine, right? Got coffee, drank it, and just sort of tried to breathe and relax. Nothing. So I'm like, okay, lunchtime. I'll go to my go-to, Taco Bell, right? Anytime that you're having a bad bad morning after, Taco Bell. So I went, got Taco Bell. Nope. Still not working. Like, at this point, I'm starting to feel clammy. Like, I've got flop sweat going on, and I'm like, what in the world? So, talk to my boss. I'm like, I need to go home. Like, I don't know what's going on. And I'm flying out to Boston tomorrow. Like, this time tomorrow, I will be on a plane somewhere between here and Chicago, at which point I will land and make a connection to Boston. So I need to be... I can't feel the way that I felt today on a plane. No. That's not fair to myself or anybody around me. It's just not. Like, I think I had food poisoning one time on tour, but I wasn't flying. I got the chills and aches really bad flying, but I was coming home. And that was no fun. But pukey feeling. The only time I had that was, I believe, due to food poisoning on the road to the United Bowl Championship last year with Jimmy and the boys, and that was no fun. So here we are. I'm feeling a little better after a bit of a nap, and just breathing, relaxing. Luckily, most of tonight's episode pre-recorded. A good 20-minute chunk of it coming up here is me and Ameer, and then Patrick Ryan, the elusive quarterback and one of the best-looking guys out there. He will make his fan show debut, so that should be a lot of fun. He's going to come on. We're going to talk some SteelHawks. I have not had a member of the Lions or the SteelHawks on this season simply because I don't know anyone from those teams. Had one guy from the Sharks. It's like if it's a mammoth, a cobra, or a pirate, like I can get those guys all day long. I know most of them, but Jax is like the Arizona of the NAL. In other words, like they have channels to go through. Arizona is still the only team that basically I have to go through their media guy just to get an interview with a player on one of the shows. And sometimes he'll say no. Say, no, he's no good at interviews. How about this guy? And that's fine. I like to try to give everybody an opportunity because that's what the show is all about. But every other team, Green Bay, Iowa, Nebraska, Cedar Rapids, and then Sioux Falls, I just text the player, hey, you free Tuesday night? You want to do an interview? Yeah, let's do it. Okay. It's that easy. So Jacksonville's kind of like that in the National Arena League because every other team, with the exception of Columbus and Lehigh Valley, and that's because I don't know anybody on those teams yet. Like, I haven't had the relationships built. Like, I don't know anybody that went from Spokane to Lehigh Valley or Columbus. But I am making new friends, more and more every day. So we will get our first SteelHawk, and he's like the newest member of the SteelHawks. That'll be Patrick Ryan. That'll be coming up second part of the show. So with that, there wasn't really much in the way of headlines today. In fact, let me take a quick gander here. The ESPYs were last night, which I completely forgot. But like I said, if I don't have to watch ESPN, I won't. Plain and simple. Dan Patrick's show is my source for unbiased news. Like, unbiased, like real talk news. Not like, here's what LeBron had for lunch. No, I can't do it. Sorry, ESPN. Like, you guys have dropped the ball too many times the last couple of years. And it's going to take a lot to right that ship. But they're still ESPN, so they can take the hits, right? MTV is still a thing, despite the fact that I don't think they've played an actual music video in 10 years. So the ESPYs were last night, and Nick Foles took home the award for Best Championship Performance. Felt like that was well-deserved just because nobody gave him a snowball's chance in hell in the NFC Championship game, let alone the Super Bowl against the likes of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. So well done, Mr. Foles. Let's see. The Philadelphia Eagles did not win Best Play of the year, the Philly special, right? The touchdown pass to Nick Foles, and I thought that was a bit of a robbery right there. Now, I'm not sure if this was the same category or not. I believe it was, and so this one, for me, a close second. The Minnesota Miracle, which I think is a dumb name. I would have gone with the Diggs Dagger, runs away with this year's Best Moment Award. From backup to Super Bowl MVP, this year's best championship performance goes to Nick Foles. Juju Smith-Schuster was apparently the best dressed. Let's see here. Jim Kelly got the Jimmy V Award, well deserved. Best college athlete went to Mr. Baker Mayfield. So yeah, the usual suspects. Best male athlete went to Alex Ovechkin. Well deserved. I think just for his performance after they won the Stanley Cup and the tour he took that thing on, which Dixie Wooten is closing that gap rapidly. Okay, can I just say that? Whenever there's a snap or a post made on Twitter of Dixie without the trophy, I instantly get worried and go, where's the trophy? Like, did something happen to it? Where is it? Because he has been inseparable from that thing since they won it. But good on him, It's easy for people to say, act like you've been there. All right? Sure. Yeah, let's take the high road. He's never been there. This is his first time. Let him live it up. Come on. This should be like your guilt-free pass to go out and just, kick ass. Because it's not like they're the 8-time champions and seeing this for the 8th time in a row would get old. It's the first time. Let him have his fun. Okay, this is the most appropriate time to behave the way that he's behaving. I'm all for it. You go get him, Wooten. Woot woot! So anyway, that is going to bring us to the midway point of the show. Like I said, not very much in the likes of headlines. The ESPYs happen. You guys can go and check out ESPN.com and see who won and lost that you liked or didn't like. But there was not a deal made yet, reached, I should say, between Le'Veon Bell and the Steelers. That's been in the headlines a little bit. But, yeah, that about does it. So let's go ahead and not waste any more time here. And let's go to my one-on-one with Coach Ameer Ismail of the Massachusetts Pirates. Enjoy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am joined now live and not by voicemail, Ameer Ismail of the Massachusetts Pirates. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for having me, Richard.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a tough rundown, but I love how you didn't know who I was referring to when I said, "Oh, you do the Curtis Riggs things where you guys practice at night because you guys play at night," and you're like, "Oh, he does that?" It's like, come on, man. You knew.
I didn't know that. I don't focus my attention on what other teams are doing. I focus my attention on what I believe that is going to make our team the best team that we can be, and that's not losing energy with other situations that's going on. That's just focus on the task at hand and my team and what's going on over here in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Well, it seems to work well for them, and it works well for you guys so far. You're sitting alone atop the NAL standings. That could change this weekend. You've got a tough task at hand. You're 0-2 against Carolina, but both games were on the road. They're coming to your house this weekend. How you feel about that matchup?
First off, don't put that evil on me, Richard. That could change this weekend. Yeah, like every game, there's a potential of winning and a potential for losing. So, but we choose to stay positive and, just focus on, the positive things and what we got to do to succeed and do well. Obviously, losing the first 2 games and matchups there, a few plays here and there, like especially, closing it out that, could have changed the outcome of those games and could have went the other way. And we could have, very easily have won both of those games, at least one of those games. And but end of the day, we lost them both. And like you said, they're coming here into our house, and where we feel like that will be a good test for us and a great opportunity for us to play a team that has beat us, and it's very high flying, one of the top offenses in the league, and play against coach against a friend of mine, Billy Back, and McCullum and all his receivers have been together for a while, so I'm familiar with them from Wichita Falls when I was in Spokane. So they definitely have a great rapport together, and they understand the game and the spacing, and make adjustments on the fly, and they definitely have a great connection with one another, and it shows in their performance on the field.
Yeah, it's going to be a great offense against what I know is a great defense. You've got a lot of the boys from the Empire there that made that side of the ball so dominant over those 2 seasons there. But, I'm surprised you haven't picked up a Boston accent yet. How's your time in Beantown been so far this season?
Well, it's been awesome. It's a great experience. Kind of living in a bubble a little bit with coaching and sticking to the film study and the and practices and doing what we got to do to get the team ready and to get prepared on a week-to-week basis. Keeps us busy. Doesn't really allow too much downtime to go explore and whatnot. But the little time that we do have, it's been great, and great community and great out here. As far as the accent goes, like I said, not everybody has the Nick Hag, down at the harbor getting the car type thing. Yeah, there's a lot of two words that I do hear a lot. Our quarterback says funky a lot. And I think our GM is used that word as well. So funky is definitely a common word out here, as well as wicked. Like it's wicked good, it's wicked hot. It's so those 2 words have definitely been highlighted since I've been out here. But yeah, it's been great. People are great, and couldn't be happier with with the area and the situation that I've been blessed with here.
Yeah, you guys have definitely done great work in the community, which you've always been a big advocate for, is making sure that your team does its part to bring people together and sort of give back, because people are paying for tickets, season tickets or single game, and you want to make sure that your guys are owning up their end, both on the field and then off of it. So I think Boston's been a great spot for a guy such as yourself, personality-wise, and everywhere else. But, you got a lot of family that I'm sure goes to these games, the Hags and the Vacquiaos. How has that been, seeing those faces in the stands each time?
Yeah, it's been great. I had an opportunity to meet, Pasquale's, grandparents have, come from New York, and they've been, great supporters of his, and Nick's got a whole little mini cheering section with his family and friends here, and they're awesome. His dad's like our biggest supporters in the front, screaming, yelling, and being positive, and best, one of the best fans out there. So it's been fun. It's been fun having those guys, and we have a few other, local guys, Sean Brackett, from Boston, Thomas Claiborne, Boston College guy as well. And Sean Louiso, who's with the Colts, and he's also a local guy. He owns a supplement store called Undisputed Nutrition, who's one of our sponsors as well. And so it's been a great asset, and he's a phenomenal football player with a high pedigree. That he suffered a little bit of injuries, but when he's out on the field, he's going 100 miles an hour as well. So yeah, all those guys, man, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to coach them. It's been fun, and we're hoping to continue on this journey and to continue to progress and grow and do better. And like I said, get out in the community. I always find that it's very important to, get perspective on things and how, have the guys. I've been really lucky and fortunate, even more so this year than any other year. Most of the guys get it. They understand how important it is to get out in the community, to get in touch with the fans and to show face. And, it hasn't been, something that I'm getting out there as much as I possibly can and giving back, serving food that needs to be served. We're doing our, community service events and showing up, our team events as well. But all the guys have been great. They all want to get out there and they all want to promote the Pirates and give back, to the fans, to the kids, Boys and Girls Club, everything that, they need to do. So it's definitely been fun. And that's one of the key, most important things. And we've had great sponsors as well. So it just, it trickles on and taking care of them and making sure, the guys are, are getting out there and, getting to the sponsors' locations as well. So it's been great experience all around.
Now, you have a couple of guys that are native to the area, your quarterback, Sean Brackett, and then, of course, Nick Hague on the defense. Now, Pasquale, he's not too far from home, being a New Jersey boy. But, these are guys that their families kind of take you in as one of their own. And I was talking with your quarterback last week about how, one, you guys do the practicing at night to help sort of get them used to when it's game time that their internal clock is already in sync with that time. But also, when you play for a team, half the time you can come out of high school, go to a college across the country, and then you can get drafted by a team that's all the way on the other side of the country. Like, you may never end up being back around what is home for you. And so, yeah, it's one thing to travel. It's another thing to be pretty much away from home throughout your entire career. And here you have a couple of guys that are at home and around family and amongst friends. Has that been, in your mind, a difference maker for this team and its success, is having guys that can sleep in their own bed, that can sort of take in others like as part of their family and whatnot?
Yeah, it's definitely great to have, a lot of the local guys there, to be able to know the area and, like you said, have, a lot of, family and friends around to kind of expose the guys that are coming from cross country and outside of, and not knowing, the community and area as much, to kind of take everyone, under the wing. And we preach family, man. We're a big family, really believe that. And, win, lose, or draw, we stick together, we support each other. And, we love each other, even if we don't agree or we argue or whatever the case is. That's the way it goes with family. And that's one of the most important things. And to have, all those local guys, play in front of their hometown essentially, or within 30, 40 minutes, it's a great asset. It's a great asset. And they've done a great job of making sure that it's a positive, because, in a lot of professional settings and, sometimes, it's detrimental to certain people if, they go back home and they're hanging out with, certain people and distracting them from what the task is at hand. But we have true professionals in this area, with Sean Brackett and Sean Louiso and Pasquale and Nick Hague and even, Deshaun Johnson's Jersey kid and Thomas Claiborne, all those local guys, they keep their head on straight, and they don't lose sight of the vision and the focus and what they came here to do. And that's to play football and win games.
Now, of course, everybody talks about how Green Bay is football town, and how it doesn't matter what level of football, they sort of embrace it. And then you have the culture that is, Texas football, where the whole state, every city shuts down for Friday night or college game day, or then, of course, pro on Sunday. So it's like a whole weekend event down in Texas. Boston, though, it's not really dedicated to one sport. It is sort of the sports capital of the world. It's there with all the majors and then especially some minors. How well have you guys been received not only amongst football fans but around the rest of the sporting community. And then, of course, you guys got the Patriots there and whatnot. Like, how's that vibe been for you?
It's been great. This is a title town, so we expected to do well, but we got to continuously just to focus our game on our mindsets and everything that we have on that task at hand, which is this week, which is Carolina, and not think too far ahead of anything else that's going on, but what's in front of us right now. With that being said, we've had a great opportunity. Mr. Hassan Yatim and Jawad Yatim, our owners, and team president, have done a great job of outreaching to the professional sports market in Boston, which is not too far from us in Worcester. And we've had, tremendous, feedback from a lot of the Patriots, players and personnel coming out to the games, and what an amazing asset that is. For them to come check out the guys and to, potentially get looked at and an opportunity in front of, NFL eyes and, just being in their backyard. So a lot of these guys are, going to take advantage of these opportunities to, potentially get a look and to be prepared for the next level. And it's always a good thing, being in this, arena football is treated as like a minor league market, like, it's like a AAA baseball team or whatever the case is, that hopefully that's the goal, that, an NFL or CFL team will pick these guys right up right at the end of the season. And we already have a couple guys lined up for some workouts in a few weeks, and, and hopefully that some guys stick after it's all said and done. But, man, the culture is great. Smart sports market, big football, fans here, and the support has been phenomenal. And it's a continuous education process because it is a new team. And so it's just continuously getting out there, getting our faces out there in the community to get more fans. And, the more and more, games we win, and we got, our games are televised on NESN, which is the same network that the Red Sox play on and the Bruins play on. So it's getting broader and broader, and the publicity is getting bigger and bigger, and we got to do our part to continuously win.
Yeah, and see, that's a front office doing its due diligence right there. So I'm pleased that you guys are getting the exposure that you deserve in such a big sports market up there in Boston. Now, if you guys were to host a championship, do you think you could get Gronk to do the coin toss? Like, is that too far-fetched?
Oh, man, I don't know. I think he's going to be, focused in on what the task at hand is for him, and that's preparing himself, for the season. But never know. I wouldn't completely take that, out of the picture. There's always potential for that. So, we just, like we said, we're just focused on, what we got to do this weekend, and not thinking too far ahead, because this game is very tricky, and you can find yourself down or up at any time, and you can lose and win, very easily, and it's all about how you finish, and we got to do our job with the last 3 games, and that starts with this game, and that's all our focus is on beating Carolina and doing what we need to do to be successful.
Well, this will be my first time to Boston ever. I think my first time north of the Carolinas. So what am I in for? Heg says a lot of accents that I won't understand, and then a lot of really good food, and of course, a lot of beer.
Yeah, it's all what you make of it. We're all, dependent on what you like and what you want to experience. But, yeah, there's, you can always find something to do. That's for sure. You'll definitely enjoy yourself, and especially, you're going to get some good gameplay against, Carolina and Massachusetts, and the atmosphere should be great. The fans should be electric. It should be a lot of scores, a lot of hard hits, and we'll save the experience of the town and the city for after the game. Try to show you around a little bit of the areas that did get to experience. But probably Nick would know more things, and places to go other than myself. I keep in the lab in a box and on the computer most of the time, just game planning and studying. And there's a couple nice restaurants though that probably would recommend to you from some of our sponsors in the area as well. So that's the extent of this. Eating is my forte. That's my party.
Eating and making sure that Coach Back gets you that active roster for who's going to suit up this weekend, right?
Yeah, it's just, I just wanted the right numbers. That's all. I just couldn't find the right, the numbers on the certain players that were active, and I got conflicting, rosters on who played, and so that was a little inside joke in terms of what I was asking to just send me, player roster, because sometimes it's tough to see the numbers on certain film angles. So, but he sent it to me, so we're good. All
right. Well, just as long as you guys keep it civil up until game time, and then afterwards, you guys shake hands, do a little bro hug, and be on your way. Because this is definitely a game that I have been looking forward to ever since the schedule got released. Because I knew that of the 3 times that you guys met, since this was the only one in Boston, that this was going to be, especially with where it is in the season, is probably going to mean a hell of a lot come postseason time. So Ameer, a pleasure as always, man.
No, it's the pleasure. The pleasure's mine, and it's just the way it's set up. We went there twice, and they only come here once. It is what it is. But we have legal, official, end zones that are rounded with the wall being out, as opposed to whatever that goes on out there in Carolina with the squared up end zones, and there's an out of bounds, but. So you definitely, you're in a different, setting with different rules out in Carolina, but we stick to the regular, rules that everyone else, abides by to the league. So shouldn't be anything, no tricks out here. It's just, let the best man win.
All right, my man. Well, I'll let you get back to it, the grind that never stops. But, hey, a hell of a job what you've done there in Boston so far this season. Really, I mean, championship or not, I think that nothing can be taken away from you and your squad for how you guys have handled being an expansion team in a sports market that has, to say the least, very high level of expectations for its sports teams. So I think you guys have.
I appreciate that. It's good. We have great coaches, good staff, good front office, good ownership, and willing and capable and high-level players, so that it makes it easy.
All right, man. Well, I will see you Saturday night. I'll let you know when I get in, but I look forward to see all your smiling faces and then an entertaining National Arena League game come kick off.
Sounds good, brother. Have a good one. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, you too, man. Take care of yourself.
All right, you too. Bye.
All right, that was Ameer Ismail, head coach of the Massachusetts Pirates. Always a very entertaining and informative conversation. We have legal rounded end zones and not this squared end zone with the. I will admit that threw me off when I was in Carolina. The fact that they have a squared end zone and then the board is not the out, like there's an actual like a 2-foot gap there. That's a home field advantage. I will say that. It's very much home field advantage for the Cobras. But they're not home, they're away this time. It's Mass that is the home field. But enough about those guys. We'll talk about them and the rest of the games after my next guest, Patrick Ryan. We will be right back with more of the Fan Show after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and a man with one of the best faces in the business and making his debut on the Fan Show. It is Patrick Ryan of the Lehigh Valley SteelHawks. How you doing, Mr. Ryan?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing great, man. This seems like it was long overdue. Like, you and I have talked back and forth for a while, and it was always like, when am I going to get you on the show? And it works out perfectly because I haven't had a Steelhawk on the show, and you made your debut with them last week. Not quite the outing that you would want, but how'd it feel to lace them up and get back out there?
Yeah, definitely not the outcome we were looking for, but man, yeah, it definitely felt good to get back out there and get back out there on the turf. It was a real frustrating year for me with, the whole football thing, as you know a little bit of my story. But, yeah, it definitely felt good to get my feet back with and, get a little comfortable again.
Well, hopefully it's the first of a lot of additional film to come because I knew, just the way that you sort of carry yourself and conduct yourself, and then, of course, the passion that you have for the game. I was like, this guy, he can fill that leadership role. He can probably sling it pretty well, too. And so I was really pulling for you to get up to Green Bay when they were having all that QB controversy, and then it was just like the worst timing with Coach Williams, being relieved of his duties, and then that was sort of the door getting shut on you for that time. But hey, you're out there now, and you're playing, and so obviously you're going to be refreshed in everybody's minds, and that's great looking at the end of this season and then going into the off season. So I think we have not seen the last of Patrick Ryan just yet.
Yeah, I sure hope not.
So I was when I first met you on Facebook, I saw that it said that you were on Ballers, which I watch religiously, one of my favorite shows ever. What episode would I have seen your face or your hair or your tattoos on?
Yeah, that's funny because that was actually one of my favorite shows, and I used to watch it, like you said, religiously all the time. And I was fortunate enough, I got a casting for it for season 2. So I was on episodes, I believe, 4, 5, 6, and 7 for season 2. I was a small role. I was a football player, but I had some pretty cool scenes. I had a scene with The Rock, had a scene with Denzel Washington's son, pretty much almost everybody on the show. So I got to meet pretty much everybody, the whole cast, and it was a really, really cool experience, man. I was very fortunate.
So, So The Rock is like one of my favorite people ever, and I just want to know though, like what we see is clearly the Rock from a PR perspective, but I feel like he is a very genuine human being. What was your interaction with him like, no matter how limited? I mean, obviously you got a chance to interact with him a bit, and what was that like?
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite stories to tell because I've been lucky enough as I've been in this, the acting industry the past couple of years. Besides just football, and I've been fortunate enough to meet a bunch of celebrities and all these type of people. And not everybody's a great guy. Some people are assholes, and it kind of depresses you a little. Like, damn, I love this guy, and I can't believe he was like that. But The Rock was probably the most famous guy that I have met, and the best thing about him was he was just such a great guy. He was the humblest, nicest guy, man. He treated the richest guy and probably the janitor the exact same. And on set, like I was one of the smaller actors, so I remember they told us, listen, when you see Dwayne, when you see The Rock, don't be, asking him for pictures and trying to talk to him. We're working here, we're on set, so we can do that afterwards. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm not going to say nothing to him. And I ended up having a scene with him when we were working out together. And in between takes, he was like, damn, man, you look like a football player. You ever played before? I'm like, man, have I ever played before? I started telling him my whole resume, my stats, my YouTube. I was telling him everything. And then he was telling me all his stories about when he used to play for Miami and his CFL experience and all that. And he was just so cool, man. He's like, man, I'm telling you, if I know your heart's set on football and everything, but, man, you got a real good look to you. If football don't work out, really try this acting thing. So I was like, all right, let's try it. So ever since then, that kind of gave me some motivation, especially coming from him because I've been such a big wrestling fan my whole life. The Rock was always my favorite.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Getting some words of encouragement from him, man, it was definitely a hell of an experience.
Like, you didn't have to be a wrestling fan to know about The Rock or like The Rock. Like, The Rock just had that persona and character about him that everybody was so drawn to. But that's awesome, man. I'm glad that you had a good experience with him. I don't know what the future looks like for you in acting, but if you ever land another sports gig and they need someone to fill in as like their broadcaster for whatever, I mean, just shoot them my way. I'd be more than happy to take on that role.
Man, I'm telling you, you'd be perfect for it.
Well, so let's talk about your football career then. Obviously, you've dabbled in a few things, and I will say you do have kind of that. And as much as I'm not a fan of this guy, I respect where it's due. You have like an OBJ look about you. Like you could put on the suit, you could be, the Madden cover guy. So I will give you that. I will agree with The Rock on that part. But obviously, football is the goal right now. And now that you're back in the pads, in the thick of it, even though it might be, for the remainder for the SteelHawks, what looks like a short rest of the season, but at least. You're out there. What plans do you have to help get yourself sort of back in the saddle again after this?
Yeah, and that's what I don't want people to think like, oh, who's this guy, this model, this actor? Now, don't get it twisted. I'm a football player. I've been playing football since I was 4 years old. That's always been the plan and the dream, ever since I was a little kid. I just pretty much started getting this whole acting thing, very recently. But with football, man, I'm just so happy to be back out there. But like you said, we're at the end of the season. We only have 3 games left, and if you know how the SteelHawks season has been this year, they've been through, they've hit a lot of adversity, man. They've been through a lot of injuries, but man, we have a new coach, Coach Bardo. He's been here for the last couple of weeks, and he's really been turning things around in the program. We've gotten a lot of new players, a lot of new faces in, and we got some great athletes, man. We just gotta somehow put it together. It's hard trying to get all the new pieces this late in the season and make it work when these other teams have been really gelling and coming together within weeks 4 through 8. So we're definitely trying to get it pieced together quickly because we haven't won the game yet. But we're definitely in a decent situation because we got Maine on the road right now, and then we got Carolina and we got Mass coming up. Those are 3 of some of the hottest teams in the league right now. So, if we could steal these 3 wins, at the end of the season, hopefully going into next year, there'll be some more talk about Lehigh Valley and, how they're starting to come together and, could really make a run for next season.
Have you explored any of the options, which it seems like there's a lot now? Of course, it used to be the CFL, but now we've got in 2020 the return of the XFL, which you're a wrestling fan, so I don't even have to tell you how excited about that I am. But then we also have, the Alliance of American Football and a few other glorified developmental leagues. Have you looked into those routes yet? And what's the buzz and the vibe that you're getting from other guys looking into those as well?
That's a great question because that especially the Alliance Football League, there's been a lot of big talk about that. Especially us guys playing arena football, we've all been, getting our eyes wide open. We hear about, the pay that they're doing, about $80,000 a year. But my take on these leagues, I played in an NFL development league last year called the RPFL. And it was a lot of hype about it. They were supposed to be getting 4 year, $300,000 contracts. And it was tough because the whole league was made up of guys who, were really good guys who were in the NFL and got released or, guys who got hurt trying to get back in the league and, a whole bunch of great talent. And when we ended up getting there, none of us ended up getting paid none of that type of money. So I'm hoping with these new leagues, with all the things they're promising, that it comes, it all is true. You know what I'm saying? That they don't just hype it up, and then when it comes, it's nothing like what they claim it's going to be. So guys like me who are trying to get back in, with the NFL, CFL route, these leagues will be great if all the things they promise come true. So I mean, I wish for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Yeah, no, and that's a great mentality to have because you're right. It's got to be something where if they're going to put their money where their mouth is, they need to make sure that they can back up the talk. And that's been the biggest problem with leagues at that level, I guess, if you want to say, is they promise a lot of stuff, but it's like politicians, they make all these promises and then never follow through on any of them. So I'm hoping that that's a stereotype that we see coming to an end. Obviously, the XFL, which I'm a little torn about. I feel like it's smart play would have been to cash in on almost like nostalgia, but the way that they've been approaching this resurgence is that they're going to be all about what we don't like with NFL football, and then they're leaving the extreme kind of in the past. So it's a mixed bag for the XFL, but I am certainly excited for it. So developmental leagues or just other football leagues, it is a tough gig, when you're made promises and then those aren't kept. But I do know that when it comes to the indoor game, as long as I can keep, helping players make connections, meet coaches, and whatever, like I'll keep doing that. Whoever will have me. So I will always be in your corner backing you up, because I'd love to come see you play, and I'm sad that I didn't get that chance to this year. But I do want the very best for you, and if that ends up being acting, then hey man, I will. I'll fanboy out for you, and I'll bring something for you to sign at a big premiere one time.
Man, I surely do appreciate it. With these leagues, though, I think that they could definitely be successful, because there's so much talent out here, man. Especially, I've met so many great guys in the arena already, like that aren't in the NFL or CFL right now. There's so much good talent out here, man. So I think these leagues could be so successful, man, if all, like you said, all things do come together.
One thing I wanted to ask you, as somebody who's been kind of around the block at a few different levels, is this is the feeling I have. I want to know if you agree. I feel like the NFL is too cutthroat for its own good. And what I mean by that is, obviously I've been around a lot of athletes who are playing at the indoor and arena level because they were drafted or they were on a practice squad, and all things looked trending in the right direction for them, and then they got hurt, and it's like that was it. They moved on from that player, and I feel like that's really not fair to that player, just because it's such a young league, I guess, these days, focused on the next generation. But on the flip side of that, you put tremendous amounts of pressure on guys that barely turned 21, that you just signed a big fat check to, and if they don't perform well, depending on where they were drafted at within that first year, they're considered a bust. And I don't feel like that's fair either. So I've very much been an advocate for the developmental league, because I feel like that it's just really backwards thinking the way that the NFL is now. Even though it's worked, it's only worked to a certain extent, and I think that we could see a lot better quality product, a more consistent quality of product out there for all teams involved, if they gave guys a second chance, if there was a developmental league, and if they let college players actually, accumulate to or acclimate. Acclimate to what it means to be a pro with a lot of money.
Man, that's a great statement, because I understand. I'm from Fort Myers, Florida. We've had so many guys go to the NFL and, like you said, got hurt, and then they just completely forgot about them. We've had guys who something has happened, may have gone through something for a couple weeks, and then all of a sudden never got another chance again. The NFL is very, very cutthroat, and it's all about being with the right situation, the right team at the right time. As long as you get that right opportunity, that right timing, it's very tough to stay in the league. That's why the league minimum. They say the minimum is 3 years, or the average lifespan in the NFL is 3 years. For a player. So it's very big on timing and being in the right situation at the right time. So it's very cutthroat. But like you said, them developmental leagues could be very successful. They could be, but it's all about who's running them.
Yeah, and I know that it's an apples to oranges comparison, but I mean, you have to look at baseball and farm leagues and think, okay, clearly they've got something right there. And if we can adapt that kind of blueprint in our own way to football, you could probably have a lot longer, more successful careers with a lot better gameplay out there, because let's be honest, there's some sloppy gameplay at the NFL level, and it's largely in part due to the fact that there's so much movement going around, and there's so much young talent coming in that's not used to playing the NFL's game, that it's just, you really want to have your guys out there performing to the best of their ability. And if your practice squad guys aren't even getting that much action, I mean, it's like you might as well put them in a league where they're actively participating and instead of just running through padless drills. I mean, that's just my 2 cents on it.
That's understandable. I tell you what, that practice, being a practice player check ain't so bad.
Yeah, I have no
Not
doubt
so
about
bad
that.
Being on the practice squad, they're living pretty comfortable right now. So I understand where you come from. Like you said, those developmental leagues pay, and maybe those guys would do that. But being a practice squad player with that salary, it's not too terrible living.
Yeah, very true. I will give you that one. So there's a few flaws that you'd have to fix, and a few things you'd have to keep in check to balance the status quo. But hey, man, I am again so thrilled for you. A big supporter of you and what you're going after. So whatever the endeavor is, keep me posted. Obviously, we'll keep in touch. But I wanted to get you on finally because I was So excited
Man, I
that
appreciate
you
it.
got the call to Lehigh Valley, and I'm sorry it's not like the best circumstances, but like I said, at least you're out there, at least you're doing your thing.
Yeah, like you said, yeah, at least you're getting out there and getting the opportunity. And that's all I really wanted this year, just opportunities to showcase a little bit of what I could do. And possibly next year, we'll have it set. But man, hey, I'm a huge supporter of you. I've been a big fan of the Fan Show all year, man. I'm thrilled to be on it. Thank you so much for having me. And hey, if I can get on again, hopefully you can catch a game maybe next season or wherever I end up. I would definitely love to see you again.
Yeah, man, we'll see where I land and where you land, of course. But thank you so much for the support. Long overdue to have you on, but I'm glad you were. We'll talk again soon. I have no doubt about that. So I'll let you get back to the grind. And hey, good luck this weekend and have a great rest of the season.
Hey, I appreciate it, Rich, man. Have a good one.
You too. All right, that was Patrick Ryan of the Lehigh Valley SteelHawks making his debut on the show. Great guy. I'm going to go watch those episodes of Ballers and be like, I know him. I know him. He told me the story about this scene. That's cool, though. Anytime, I always get so nervous about people meeting celebrities. They say don't meet your heroes or don't meet your idol. Whatever the saying is, they say don't meet them. And, I get it. I do, because you can catch them in but I will say that I have met one of my heroes, and it did not disappoint. I was, the ripe age of 19, 20. Yeah, no, 18 or 19. I take that back. Yeah, I was in the end of my teens, and I went to Portland, Oregon, because Plus 44, who, those of you that don't know, that was the Blink 182 side project when Blink 182 was broken up. So you had Mark and Travis, and then you had two other guys. I know that they were from other bands, but their names escape me. So it was a 4-piece band, very good, only the one album, but they were doing a signing. And I said, this is probably going to be the only chance that I have to go down and meet Travis Barker, and shake his hand and say thank you for inspiring me to play drums, that I'll ever get, because I didn't know what was going to happen. Obviously Blink-182 is back and bigger than ever now with Matt Skiba instead of Tom DeLonge. But so we went down there, me and a group of friends, because we were going to see the concert after. It was Fall Out Boy, Plus 44, Cobra Starship, and the Academy Is, and it was freaking awesome. That's a concert. And so we went down there and waited 8 hours. We were numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 in line. Yep. I had gotten a poster, and I had brought one of my sticks, a stick that I play with, not even like one of his sticks, because he has his own signature sticks, or not even one that he's sponsored by. And we all know that sometimes people of a certain status will not sign things that are like of a rival company, right? Like it's got to be a brand that sponsors them. They can be sticklers about it. True story. So we go, we wait. They come out, and I go through the line, and I think he was the last one. And I shook his hand, and I said, thank you so much for inspiring me to pick up the sticks and play drums. And I said, they told us it's only one item per person for signature, but I brought a stick specifically for you to sign. And he's like, hand it over, man. He's like, hell yeah. Signed it, and man, I was the happiest kid ever for the next, forever. So it was a great moment. So meet your heroes. Like, seriously, I encourage it. There might be a few bad experiences. Lord knows I've had a few, but meet your heroes. Seriously, folks, do it. So that's going to bring us to the end of the show. We've got some great matchups in the National Arena League this weekend, and we're going to talk about those right now. Lightning round. National Arena League matchups are as follows. We have the Carolina Cobras going into Boston. That's right. Shipping up to Boston. Whoa. For the first time this season, third and final time of the regular season, these two teams will meet. Kickoff is at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. I will be there, and this game is worth a lot. Standings as they are right now has Mass and Carolina at 1-2, 9-4, 8-4. A win for Carolina would shake things up. A win for Mass would put them in pretty much in control of their own fate and destiny, but they still got a lot of football left to play that can make a huge world of difference. Then you have the Columbus Lions and the Jacksonville Sharks. They are ranked, you guessed it, 3-4. 8-4, 8-5. Win for Columbus would inch them up towards the top of the standings. And then a win for Jacksonville would catapult them up a little bit as well, depending on the outcome of the Pirates and Cobras game. A loss for Jacksonville, though, probably means that they're going to be the number 4 seed. And the least likely, well, let's be honest, they wouldn't host the championship. And then you have the Lehigh Valley SteelHawks and Patrick Ryan taking on my boys, the brothers Brown, Rob and Bert of the Maine Mammoths. And Maine is like one of the hottest teams right now. So 3 great matchups this weekend. All 4 are kicking off at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. So adjust your schedules as needed. Set some reminders and alarms. Make sure that you're subscribed to the National Arena League YouTube channel for little reminders. Subscribe and enjoy. And that'll do it for us here on The Fan Show. Don't forget a fresh set of episodes next week, including what I believe will be one of The Fan Show's biggest guests to date, making his official Fan Show debut. There's a little bit of a hint. Probably not much of one for you guys. I don't know how closely you pay attention to the stuff that I do day in and day out for the show. But a little teaser. And so that's going to do it for. I got to fly out tomorrow, so I'm shipping up to Boston. I want to thank all of you. Don't forget, follow us on social media. Subscribe to us on the various podcasting platforms, iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and, of course, Spreaker.com. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.